For Yesterday Tonight, I'm Hugh Whitehouse and this is March 15th. In local news this week, and Bernie Fraser, chairman of the Independent Climate Change Authority, declared that the bad guys have won the debate on climate change. After hearing this concession, it's reported that Andrew Bolt's erection can now be seen from space. Mr Fraser criticised politicians and industry groups who he claims have deliberately spread misinformation and falsehoods about climate science and have shut down any policies that might actually help reduce Australia's carbon emissions. But is this really a surprise to anyone? We have a Prime Minister who calls the logging industry conservationists and suggests that scrapping the carbon tax is a cure-all from everything from economic stimulus through to erectile dysfunction. So the bad guys won. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen? All the polar ice caps melt and we live in a post-apocalyptic water world where we drink our own urine and worship Kevin Costner as some kind of mermaid Jesus? Actually, that's pretty terrifying. We need to do something quickly. Former Secretary of Treasury and my personal spirit animal, Ken Henry, raised concerns this week of an imminent crisis over the cost of health and welfare in Australia. Mr Henry, who authored the 2010 review of Australia's taxation system, said the problem is getting worse each year, and without a comprehensive tax and transfer reform package, Australia will no longer be able to financially support services like Medicare, the Age Pension, or the National Disability Insurance Scheme. But don't worry about that silly stuff. Did you see Manu got a new haircut? Some people say it makes him look like Brad Pitt, but I just think it makes him look younger. Did you want to change the GST? Yeah, do whatever you like to afford with it. We don't really care. We're talking about the important stuff over here, like Manu's hair. At a week-long conference into tinnitus research this week, it was announced that University of Auckland academics hope to cure the constant inner ear ringing with medical trials of MDMA. A postdoctoral fellow from the university said that the initial idea came from anecdotal evidence at a research clinic where some participants claimed that their tinnitus went away after having taken ecstasy, and that looking at what MDMA does to the brain and how tinnitus works, it made sense there could be a connection. As a long-time sufferer of tinnitus, I'd happily nominate for this study and be given ecstasy as a potential cure. I get my worst attacks at about 10 PM on a Saturday evening, followed again by a double-strength attack at about 2 AM Sunday morning. Basically, I aim to chew enough face that I eventually eat my own ears, because that could be a solution, right? In international news now, a Chinese woman is on trial in Hong Kong this week after cutting off her ex-boyfriend's penis and flushing it down the toilet before beating him to death with a hammer. Why? Because he raped her. After being sexually assaulted by her ex, the defendant, Yong Ki, allegedly fed him a soup laced with sleeping pills and then just went to town. This kind of reminds me of the Lorena Bobbitt case back in the 1990s, where after being raped by her drunken husband, Lorena cut off his penis and just threw it into a field. With nearly 40% of women in Australia being subject to domestic violence or sexual assault by their current or former partner, I think we might have found ourselves a new awareness campaign. Something along the lines of, if you get a raping, you ain't gonna be naked. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, that's just the first idea, but you get the gist. In gaming news this week, an Xbox Live celebrated the launch of Titanfall on Xbox One by completely shutting down. It's not great news when the launch of a game based around killing other people online coincides with a massive online servers outage. Microsoft, who dominated sales last gen but are significantly lagging in the new gen, have a lot riding on the success of Titanfall. Basically, it's like a pimp on a street corner, there to sell as many boxes as possible. It's going to be a little awkward for Microsoft if the failure of a game named Titanfall brings about the demise of their once great home console brand. Just saying. Switching to the last gen now, and South Park: The Stick of Truth has finally been released worldwide. The game, which looks like an interactive long-form episode of the show and is an absolute blast to play, was censored here in Australia despite receiving an R18+ rating. Instead of seeing scenes that were cut from the game, players in Australia are shown a screenshot of a crying koala with a description of the deleted content. You know, for narrative continuity. While the age of 18 entitles Australians to buy liquor, tobacco and vote in democratic elections, it's a shame it doesn't allow us to see cartoon characters getting anally probed by aliens in a video game. I just wish there was some sort of global video sharing service where we could search to see this banned content and judge its impact for ourselves, you know, like the mature adults we are. Oh wait. Masochists everywhere rejoiced this week with the launch of Dark Souls 2 on Xbox 360 and PS3. The newest installment of the notoriously difficult Souls series sees players exploring the world of Dragon Lake. No, I mean Dragon Lake! Dragon Lake! Dark Souls 2 sees players exploring the world of Dragon Lake without any hand-holding in a unique old-school RPG format that promises players they should prepare to die. Again. Seriously, there is an achievement you unlock for dying the first time that just nonchalantly states, "This is Dark Souls." Just 24 hours after the launch of the game, and gamers worldwide have accumulated nearly 5 million deaths. By the time we go to air, that number is likely to be upwards of 15 million. That's like the entire casualty list from World War I in only 3 days. So don't feel bad if you break your controller in frustration while playing Dark Souls 2. It's essentially the curtain call for the last generation. If we never get around to filming another one of these segments, it'd probably make a good bet that Dark Souls 2 is to blame. If you'd like to see more from Real Man's Guide, you can subscribe to our channel or follow us on Twitter. We'll see you next time.